So Sunday morning I'm down here helping my mate Angus because he's just about to fit a kitchen, and we looked at the ceiling and it was horrible, sort of textured ceiling. It wasn't actually Artex, what it was is like Polytex and things like that. It's almost like a textured paint, a paint with grit in it. But it was on there, it was, you know, really on there, you'd never get it off. When you've got that situation, you've got a textured ceiling of some sort or another. First of all, it's important to know what it is. If it's Artex, that's a kind of plastery thing. If you just take a little bit off it and put it in a jar of water, if it dissolves over a few hours, then that's an Artex product, you know, plaster-based product. If it doesn't dissolve, it's a textured paint. So in this case, textured paint, so no problem. It was really firmly on, so we could just plaster over the top. I put a coat of Unibond on, but actually the textured paint in itself is almost like the stuff you put on blue grit or green grit to help give you a key for plastering. So I think it's the perfect surface for it. So if you've got Artex or a similar product, then just make sure it's not going to fall off the ceiling, because the last thing you want to do is plaster the whole ceiling and then find it starts to part company. You start seeing bubbles and bits dropping off. So if it is looking like it's parting company with the ceiling, best thing to do is leave it there, overboard it. Just put new plasterboard up over the whole lot, and that gives you a fresh surface, either to plaster or to tape and joint onto. In this case, we're plastering, but you know, if we were overboarding, we probably might have tried taping and jointing. Depends. Really, it's up to you. But putting plasterboard on top of plasterboard saves you all that mess, all that trouble. And we've always got to remember that Artex, the old Artex, had asbestos in it. So you don't want to start sanding it, cutting it, or breaking it up. You're much better off just leaving it there. If it's been painted, it's all encapsulated in the paint, and it's only if you disturb it that there'll be any risk to your health. So best thing, you've got Artex, either cover it up with plasterboard or cover it up with plaster. 2 coats of plaster. I started off with a dilute PVA, 2 parts water, 1 part PVA. Gave that a good coat over the whole thing and let it go off quite a lot, because when you put the plaster on, the moisture reactivates the PVA. So you get a little bit of adhesion back again. We've got that first coat on. Because it's going on to an impervious background, it's not being absorbed, the moisture's all got to come out this way, and so it's taking a while to go off, which I don't mind. You know, we can drink a bit of tea and catch up, you know, have a bit of a chin wag. We put another coat on. When we put the other coat on, that's the one where I start having to trowel up. But on the first coat, all we needed to do really was just use the speed skim, just get the thing flat, make sure there was no white showing through. So we've covered all the old textured paint underneath. The next coat is the important one. That's the one where we've got to make it look nice and smooth. Sometimes you could even end up doing 3 coats, but in this case I think 2 coats is going to be enough. It's Sunday after all. So we've got cupboards going all the way up here, we've got worktop here, so the only bit we're really worried about is over here. He doesn't want to tile this, he's going to tile that bit round the back of the sink, but he didn't want to tile this, which I totally approve of. But you can see there's a few little holes in here, a few bits, you could fill it, you could sand it. But what we're going to do is I'm going to get Ben and Angus doing the rollable plaster, because I've used it, I've got half a tub left over. Shame to let it go to waste, so I'm going to give them a go at that. They've never done it before, but it should be fun for them.